Hello friends, welcome to a new episode of Drishti IAS editorial analysis. In this editorial analysis, we do three things. We link the editorial to the UPSC Civil Services exam syllabus. We understand the key points of the editorial. And we also discuss any of the key concepts that have been mentioned in the editorial and are important from exam point of view. So let us begin today's editorial analysis. Today's editorial has been taken from the Hindu and its title is Safe Return. It deals with the problems being faced by the migrant workers. And it says that the distress faced by migrant workers must not be ignored by the government. And it links directly with GS paper 2 and GS paper 3 because the migrant workers, they form a vulnerable section of the population. So it links to this portion of the syllabus in GS paper 2. And it also links with GS paper 3 because the migrant workers, they form a very important part of the informal sector, which is a major sector of the Indian economy. So it has linked with both GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. Now let us look at the key points of the editorial. The editorial says that amid the COVID-19 crisis, the distress faced by migrant workers must not be ignored because they have been put to the most difficulties by this lockdown. First of all, it was announced in a very sudden manner by the government. Because of that, they did not have time to go back to their homes and they were stranded without jobs because most of these migrant workers are daily wages. So it was a very difficult situation for them. So there was no social safety net for these migrant workers and they were left to fend for themselves. The editorial also talks about the various challenges that have been faced by the migrant workers during this lockdown. So a month after one of the most stringent global lockdown was imposed in India to tackle the pandemic, the travails of the migrant workers have shown no signs of ending. So in India, one of the most stringent, that means one of the most strict lockdown was imposed. And due to this, the migrant workers faced a lot of hardships. The government had told the Supreme Court in late March that arrangements had been made to provide temporary shelters with food for migrant workers just days after the lockdown had triggered an exodus of people to their native places. So as soon as the lockdown was announced, an exodus of migrants happened. So this exodus was triggered by these two reasons, that they had no income and no access to food grains because their ration card through which they could get subsidized food, either they were not enrolled in that or even if enrolled, it was with their families back home. So this resulted in this exodus. Plus this fear and uncertainty about what will happen, whether the lockdown will continue indefinitely. So that resulted in a lot of panic. And this exodus of migrants was seen on the roads. Further, the editorial says that reports have shown that thousands continue to travel long distances to escape distress conditions or to their families. Also, lakhs of workers dependent upon daily and casual labor are still stranded in cities like Mumbai and Delhi without wages because the units in which they were working, they are closed. And when these are closed, there is no income for these migrant workers. And without earning money on daily basis, it is very difficult for them to survive in places like Delhi and Mumbai, where they have no social security net. The editorial further talks about the inadequate relief measures. Now it says that the functioning of the shelters in several places has been uneven across states and metropolitan cities. Now these shelters were created to provide them basic relief to these migrant workers who have been wanting to travel to their home towns and villages, but the facilities in these shelters have been lacking. The editorial further says that the Finance Ministry's relief measures so far have been insufficient in providing for their needs. So the Finance Ministry has provided a relief package which has been just 1% of the GDP, whereas the industry bodies and even experts, they have been demanding that India should provide at least 5% of the GDP as stimulus to revive the economy and make sure that relief reaches to the neediest of the needy. Here we have example of various countries which have provided stimulus amounting to even 10% of the GDP. So India must also step up the economic stimulus. Now some migrant workers who stare at a continuing loss of livelihoods in their adopted places of work are better off depending upon the social safety nets and familial support structures in their native places. So this is the major reason for these migrant workers to take these long journeys back to their hometowns and villages because they feel that the social safety net that will be provided in their hometowns and the family support that they will get is not simply available in the cities and the workplaces where they are residing. And without jobs, they cannot sustain for long in such places. Also, the restarting of work under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which we'll see in the key concept section, This has also provided incentive for workers to leave for their native places because they realize that here in the cities their income is going to be zero. But at least in their villages, they can count on this Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme to get some gainful employment. The editorial further says that the option of keeping workers at their respective places is no longer viable and the center must work at ways to allow for their transport to their native places. So the editorial is saying that keeping these workers without jobs or without livelihoods in the places they are residing right now is no longer sustainable and they must be allowed to go back to the safety of their villages and their families. And many state governments have also been demanding the same, especially Maharashtra, which wants that the migrant workers should now return to their home states. And states like Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, they have been sending buses to various other states to get back their migrant workers. So the onus is on the center to devise a clear-cut policy and communicate it clearly to the states as well as to the migrant workers through appropriate channels so that there is no mad rush which can spread the infection more. Plus, the state government should be given the responsibility and they should be held accountable for ensuring that these migrant workers are quarantined at home when they return so that the infection doesn't spread with them. Now, the editorial also talks about the humanitarian and economic cost. So, it says that India has managed to avoid the high fatalities and infection rates seen in Europe and North America. Many experts believe that this has been due to the lockdown and the early action taken by the Indian government. That the lockdown has helped, but it has come at a huge humanitarian and economic cost. So, the humanitarian cost has been largely borne by these migrant workers. And the economic cost that the whole industry and the Indian economy is bearing. So the Indian government is facing this moral dilemma of saving lives or saving jobs. And even Prime Minister Modi said when announcing the first lockdown that Jaan hai to jahan hai. That means if there is life, then yes, there is world and there are jobs, etc. But now in the second lockdown, he has also said that we want both Jaan bhi or Jahan bhi. That means the lives are important, but saving jobs is equally important. So it is very important that we save lives, but we also save the economy, we also save the jobs. Editorial further says that this moral dilemma can be resolved only through practical steps that compensate the poor and the workers in the unorganized sector, who are the most vulnerable section of the population. Plus, protect the old and the infirm, which are most at risk by this COVID-19 pandemic. Maharashtra is the state which is having the highest incidence of COVID-19 cases, besides having the largest number of migrant workers, and it has been repeatedly asking the center to plan and resume railway services for the laborers once the lockdown ends, because Maharashtra wants that these migrant workers should be allowed to go home. That will reduce the burden of the pandemic on Maharashtra. Now, states such as Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh are also gearing up to facilitate the return of their migrants. So it seems that both the destination states, which are receiving the migrant population, and the source state of these migrant workers, both sides are ready to ensure that the migrant workers travel back from their workplace to their home states. So the center should now make sure that this is done in a manner that the disease doesn't spread, that proper quarantine norms are followed. Finally, the editorial says that allowing migrants to travel in a safe way by trains that provide for the necessary physical distancing is the least that the government can do. These migrant workers play a very vital role in the economy. And now when they are in a crisis, it is the responsibility of the state government as well as the central government to make sure that they are sent to their home states in a dignified manner. Plus, the state governments will have to take care that no stigma is attached to these migrant workers when they return to their villages. So these were the key points of the editorial. Now let us look at the key concepts. In concepts to learn today, we'll look at migrant workers and MGNREGA scheme. So Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. It is run by the Ministry of Rural Development. The year when it started was 2005. The objective is to provide 100 days of employment in every financial year to adult members of any rural household willing to do public work, which should be unskilled manual work at the statutory minimum wage. Now, what is the eligibility for such kind of work? 18 years of age, and the applicant must be part of a local household, that is registered with the local Gram Panchayat, and the person must volunteer for unskilled labor. What are the features of the scheme? Minimum 1/3 of the stipulated workforce must be women. So there is reservation for women also. And agriculture and allied activities constitute more than 65% of the works taken up under the program. Also, social audit is mandatory, which lends to accountability and transparency. So this is a very important point, that social audit is mandatory under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. And it covers all districts of India except the ones with 100% urban population, because this is mainly directed at rural economy. Now the funding. So central government bears the full cost of unskilled labor and 75% of the cost of material, and rest of the cost is borne by the state governments. And the implementation is done through the Gram Panchayats. So this was all about the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Now let us look at the migrant workers. So census definition of a migrant is when a person is enumerated in census at a different place than his or her birthplace, she or he is considered a migrant. So Economic Survey 2017 said that the annual average labor migration was close to 9 million between states during the period of 2011 to 16. So almost 90 lakh people, they migrated between states for work purposes. Another thing to note about these migrant workers is that Delhi is the largest recipient of migrants, accounting for more than half the number in 2015 and 16. So Delhi is a migrant magnet. And Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, they attract the largest number of migrants from the Hindi-speaking states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. Now, internal migration rates have dipped in Maharashtra, which used to attract the most number of migrants earlier, and it has surged in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, reflecting the growing pull of southern states in India's migration dynamics. So this also speaks about the progress and development done by the southern states. Especially in the case of Kerala, there is also out of India migration. So to fill that vacuum, also migrants are needed in Kerala. Now major sources and destination states for migrant workers. So the major source states are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, even Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, they also supply good number of migrant workers. And the destination states are Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala. So which are the sectors which are employing the most number of migrant workers? So the construction sector is the top sector, which is employing the migrant workers, and the share is around 40 million. Secondly, domestic work. Thirdly, textile. And fourth is brick making. And after that, transportation, mines and quarries and agriculture. So we can remember it like CBDT, which is not Central Board of Direct Taxes, but construction sector, the brick making sector, the domestic work and textile sector. So we can remember it through this acronym. Now, what are the laws and schemes related to migrant workers? So we have a Interstate Migrant Workman Regulation of Employment and Condition of Services Act of 1979, which allows contractors and establishments to avail of on-site services of interstate workers to overcome only the temporary shortage of required skilled workers in a state. But this law needs to be revised and updated to meet the current requirements. This is a law which was framed in 1979. Since then, the pattern of work and the pattern of migration has changed a great deal. So the migrant workers need a lot of institutional and legal safeguards, which is not provided under this Interstate Migrant Workman Act of 1979, and this must be updated. Now, a very good scheme which can be very handy to quote in an answer is the Awaj scheme that has been launched by the Kerala government. It allows any migrant worker employed in Kerala between the ages of 18 and 60 to be eligible for medical treatment worth up to 15,000 and insurance coverage of 2 lakh for any accidental death. So this is a very good initiative by the Kerala government for the migrant. So total working population of India is around 55 crores. Out of this, almost 8 crores are self-employed. Now migrant workers form almost 30% of the working population, which is almost 14 crores. And this 14 crores figure comes when you reduce 8 crores from 55 crores. So out of that figure of 47 crores, the 30% is around 14 crores. So this is the share of migrant workers in the working population. And out of this, we have a further bifurcation. Formal migrant workers, that means the blue collar workers, who are still better off. They are around 6 crores. And the informal migrant workers, who are without any social security and without any job security, they are almost 8 crores. Now the challenges faced by informal sector workers are, there is absence of sustained income flow, especially during a lockdown situation. They do not have any income to rely on or any jobs to rely on. And there is also inaccessibility to subsidized food grains because their ration cards are usually with their families back home, or otherwise they are not registered under the ration cards. And also there is absence of any social protection. So what are the steps that can be taken to provide them relief? So it can be divided into two: long term and immediate relief. In the immediate term, we need relief shelters for meeting the basic needs, helplines through social media, radio channels to connect with the migrant workers, to inform them what the government is planning to do, how they can reach their home, when they can reach their home, and also empower the tehsildars to issue temporary ration cards to these migrant workers for maybe 2 months, 3 months, and a creation of a database of migrants, and also testing of these migrants so that when they are being sent to the villages, they do not carry the infection with them. And the long term measures, it requires that we strengthen the legal and institutional framework for informal workers by having these portable ration cards, EPF account coverage, etc. for these informal sector workers. Here we should know that the government has a scheme of One Nation, One Ration Card, which was to be launched, but due to this COVID-19 pandemic, this has been delayed. So One Nation, One Ration Card will allow for this portability. Now let us do a recap of what we have learned today. So we have learned about the issue of the migrant workers. They have suffered immensely during this lockdown period. They are wanting to return home, but they are not being allowed. And there is no social safety net at their workplace. So now they are out of jobs and out of any income. And there has been lack of clear communication from the authorities. So there has been a lot of rumors floating around that maybe trains or buses will be arranged and they have gathered at one place violating the social distancing norms, risking spreading of COVID-19. And there has also been inadequate relief measures by the state governments and also by the central government. Now, why the government has been reluctant to facilitate their return? Because mass travel, because the population is huge which wants to return to their homes. And this mass travel can spread the virus and take it to unaffected areas, and especially to villages where healthcare facilities are non-existent or negligible to counter this COVID-19. So that is the biggest risk and threat that the government is facing, and that is why they have been reluctant to facilitate the return of these migrants. Now what needs to be done? So there has to be policy clarity on when and how migrant workers can go home, via which routes, which transport will take them, will it be through buses, will it be through trains, etc. And planning on how to mitigate any danger to public health this may represent. Plus providing financial relief via direct cash transfers or through this Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So these are basically the steps that the government should take to alleviate the sufferings of the migrant workers. So this was all in today's editorial. We'll see you next time with another editorial. Thank you.